All right, once you've installed MySQL Workbench, you're probably wondering, what do I do with this tool? Well, you open it up and you'll be looking at a screen that looks something like this. And you should have already gone through the process of installing the server as well as Workbench and connecting. If you haven't, you're going to need to create a connection, but I created a connection and I saved my password in the vault, so I'm going to click on this connection here. And then this brings me here. All right, so in this video, I'm going to cover basically what are you looking at and how to do some basic things. All the basics. So your environment might not look quite like mine. The thing that determines the views, well, okay, so if you place your cursor in between the border between two panes, you can resize them like that. So you might want to do that. That's something you will do occasionally, but I want to bring your attention over here. So you might, by default, I'm going to click on that thing, you might have this right pane available. And you can toggle these things on and off. I generally have that one off. This bottom one here, that's your output. Maybe you toggle that on and off. I usually leave that one on. Oftentimes you're going to want to resize these things again. And this over here can be toggled on and off. All right, so those are what your views look like, and these things can be resized. Now, what can I do from here? Well, it really depends whether you have any databases installed. By default, so this little pane over here, you can alternate between administration and schemas. Schemas is where you're going to see all the databases that are installed in your system. When you were installing this software, you had the option of installing some sample databases. I didn't do it. Maybe you did. If you did, you'll see those over here. If you didn't, you're just going to see this sys. What is sys? Well, you can expand these. Sys is a database, and you can expand this, and you can see the tables. So there's a table in here called sysconfig. This is system stuff. It's definitely not going to be interesting to you if you are new. Right? If you're asking questions like, what do I do now that I've installed the software? You definitely don't have any interest in looking at that database. If you have some databases installed, well, then you can do some other things with those. So we've talked about views. So this pane right here that you're looking at, well, this is a place where you can write a script. I'm going to write a little script, and it says my first comment. Doesn't do much, right? You may or may not know SQL at this point. I guess that's SQL. It's a SQL comment. And so see, this is called my or SQL file 1, little asterisk, meaning it hasn't been saved yet. So what you can do with this, I can go file, save script as, and I'll call it, garbage 1. Probably not the thing that you're going to be doing, but it's a SQL file. I save it. So now I could save it and submit it or email it. I don't know. I could do something with it. The other thing that you can do, so that was not interesting, is you can open a file. So I'm going to go open script. And I'm going to open up a script that's going to create an entire database for me. So if you're taking a class with me, well, then you have this. And so whole bunch of SQL, right? It's hundreds of lines. So I want to execute this. And so I've got two executes. I've got that and I've got that. The one with the 1 on it only does like the current statement that you're on. You want this one to do all. If you have things selected, it would run that, but I'm just going to not have anything selected and click this. Look at all those inserts. So all these creates, all these inserts. So it created a new database, created a bunch of tables, and it inserted a bunch of records into those tables. Now remember how I said a minute ago you don't have anything installed? Well, you got to refresh it. That's what that button is. Click that. Now it refreshes, and now I've got a database called Bookstore. Right? You could have done a different database. I don't know what you're doing exactly. I'm making this video for the students in my class, but I know very well that this might be used by other people. So I expanded bookstore. Let's expand tables. So here you can see that this bookstore has a bunch of tables in it. Author, books, customers, order. Right? It's got a bunch of different tables. One of the things that you might want to do, oh, and I'll also show like these tabs, right? Here's that one I just opened. Here's that script I was working on before. I'm going to close this tab because you can close the script. Want to open it again? I can. I'll just show you what you can do here. So I'm going to click on this author table. If you right click on a table and you say select rows, limit 1000, it'll show you the first 1000 rows in that table. And here it is, right? So there's the SQL that it wrote. So select star from bookstore.author. Whether you know SQL or not, that's not what this is about. That basically says select everything from the table called author in the bookstore database. And there they are. That's everything that's in there. Maybe it's more than you thought, maybe it's less than you thought. And you can close this if you want. And then you're back here. So this is a useful way to see what's in those tables. You can click this little button right here to create a new script. So sometimes you're going to have to create a new script. Remember, you go here to save a script, and you can also open a script. And we also talked about how to change your views, and that is, in a nutshell, how to use MySQL Workbench.